welcome to another episode of Walailak Global Program. This program aims to disseminate the latest information about excellence in research and teaching and learning at Walailak University, located in the province of Nakhon, Thammarat, in the south of Thailand. With me today is Associate Professor Dr. Pimpaka Harding from the School of Science. Dr. Pimpaka has been with Walailak University for some time, I guess probably close to 20 years. She's been one of the top researchers at Walailak University, and she has extensive international research collaborations with foreign scholars. Welcome to the program, Dr. Pimpaka. Thank you for being with us, for being on the program. We'd like to begin by asking you about your research area.
Yes, okay. My research area is about the magnetic materials. So in Walailak University, we have quite nice laboratory that we can design and also synthesize all sorts of very new and novel magnetic materials.
So this is located at the Department of Chemistry.
It's in the we call innovation building. So whole floor in one of the satellite building there is belong to the FunTech, Functional Materials and Nanotechnology Center of Excellence, which I am the head of the Center of Excellence. So in there we have quite fully capacity and also good infrastructure to accommodate many researchers there.
How long have you been with Walailak University?
Oh,
doing?
This March will be 20 years.
20 years already.
As the lecturer. But if say signed up with Walailak University, I signed up with university since 1997. And then after that I went to UK for my PhD study.
Where did you do your PhD?
University of Bristol.
Bristol,
yes.
right. And so you've been involved in research at Walailak University. How did it all begin? Can you go back a little bit in time about how you begin your research career at Walailak University after your PhD, and then you start projects, and then one project leads to another? Is
yes.
that the kind of thing?
So when I came back from the UK, at that time we have absolutely nothing in terms of research facility, because we just opened university, and I think it's only like second generation of student, undergrad student. So I have to, but Walailak also foreseen about we want to be excellent in research. So they create some kind of like small laboratory in the area of instrument center building. At that time they give me one small room in the building that called B8, but it's have only like bench and things like that. So I have to think that, okay, how can I start my experiment? So I have to apply for the research grant, one from Walailak University, which give it for all lecturers who just start their career. And the other one is I apply for the MTech grant. That one is quite bigger one, 200,000 baht at that time. So I think that is where I start. And then after I do it for about a year or so, I kind of like know that what work or not work in Walailak, because we have simple infrastructure at that time. And then I apply for the first TRF grant, and that give me quite big jump because the money is bigger.
What exactly your research is about? I mean, what exactly you are trying to find out?
So
sorry, I'm not a
yeah,
scientist,
I
so
know,
I'm quite ignorant.
No, it's all right. If you just think about something simple, you just think about me as a builder, in fact. So the builder, they grab the brick, right? And then they build the house. For me, I grab the atoms and then I assembly atoms into things that call molecules. And then one molecule connect to the other, and then is have some kind of certain property that we can apply for making device afterward. So for us, at start, I doing the thing that we call redox active chemistry, which means that the molecule we can put electron in there or take electron out, and both states are stable. But then after a while, when we see the literatures and also trend that international doing, and we know that we have to move on something more promising than just like electrochemistry. So we move on to things that call magnetic materials. Because right now, if we search our body, we will have mobile phone, we use internet all the time. So this means that now we need some kind of memory storage that can hold a lot of capacity. And the computer that we have right now is almost reached the limit of what can be done. So scientists around the world try to search for the new system that can make the hard disk, that can make the memory storage, and Google can use it as a server, and we can hold a lot of information in very tiny space.
It's amazing.
So that's what
it's
we try to do.
You must have an amazing brain.
Not
it's
really.
amazing to me that chemistry can do a lot, to society, to human beings, to the world. In fact, this seems to be very fundamental, very basic, and it could have a wide-ranging applications indeed. So it's quite interesting. And are there any? You were talking about getting funding, research funding, and of course, Walailak University has a clear policy of promoting research and all of that. Challenges in your research? Can you say a little bit about challenges that you have faced, and how to overcome challenges that have come your way?
I have to admit that being scientists in Thailand, not only in Walailak University, but all over Thailand, is always challenged because our infrastructure is not matching with the world level of research. However, if you try to make connection with your colleague outside Thailand and try to share your idea and thought, and they have facility, that how we do it in our group in Walailak University. Because when we try to shift from the electrochemistry study to magnetic study, we don't have certain equipment. It's called squid. It's not the squid in the sea, but still the same thing. That squid, no such a thing in Thailand at all, there and now. So we have to be brave, because people said, you are mad that you would try to conduct the research, that we don't have the equipment to measure your molecule, that it will show that phenomenon or not. But for us, we think that it's something that if we can do it, we'll be number one in Thailand, right? Because nobody can do it.
And you have proved
yes.
That you are number one in Thailand.
Yes, I guess so.
Oh.
Because when people talk about spin crossover materials, everybody think about us in Thailand. And even like in the international level, if we talk about the ion 3 spin crossover, I really think that we quite well known of it as well.
So when you ran into problem, obviously not having this proper equipment, but you didn't give up. You sought international collaboration, you sought colleagues outside of the country. How hard was it?
It's not that hard as long as you brave. So like first time when we think that we might do it, So we went to the conference in, at that time I think is 2008, in 2007 in Hobart in Australia. And then we know that Professor Keith Morley, he has the machine. So we never know him before. We went there, introduced ourselves, and then just say that we come from Thailand. In the future, we might need his help for this. And he said, yes, 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 yes. And then we came back, but of course with this and that and the other, we don't have the compound that's suitable for him to study. But next year, we went to New Zealand, met him again at the conference, and he said, where is the compound? We're waiting for your compound to send to us. So we said, no worry, when we go back, we will pack the sample and then send it to you. So that's where it starts really. And he fully supports us until now, until he properly retired. So in fact, he more or less our mentor.
So he became, the Professor Keith, is that
Yes.
right? Became your mentor. In fact, you developed that partnership with him without first knowing him, but met him. You met him first time at a conference.
That's right.
So this is very interesting. It's quite amazing that I guess we can say that where there is a will, there is a way. So you ran into a problem, you didn't give up, you sought further, you look for people outside of the country, and you found one, and the rest, people say, is history, that you have done your project really well. So this is, would you say this would give a new generation of research a very good lessons? And as you say, be brave. When you run into a problem, don't just give up, but look for opportunities, seek people in the world, anywhere
That's
in the
right.
world that who could well, help you out. So that is a very great lesson. So I must say, Dr. Pimpaka has been also quite pioneer in the area of international research collaboration. In fact, I didn't know that you started off, quite blindly, but you are one of the most successful persons or researcher who has built such a very wide international network. I'd like you to say more about the importance of international collaboration.
I really think that when you have international partner as your colleague, it's really push you because sometimes it's hard, and you know that the result in your hand, you can publish whatever you can publish, in maybe Q4, Q3, but because your partner just whisper and said, no, not yet, collect more data, and we aim for highest that we can go, and if they say no, we will come a little bit under. So imagine that without them, you will just just publish them, and then I can have one publication now. But because they has very, very high standard, and you have to keep up, because collaboration is two-way system. It's not one way. It have to be equally in and out system, which means that when your friend put a lot of effort in, you have to match that effort, whatever that you can do in your own laboratory. So if you have to delay your publication and dig deeper, that's what you have to do. So you have to do. So then in that way, the collaboration will very strong and sustainable. But if say they do their bit, and then you grab their bit, and then you do whatever you like without consider their feeling or their opinion, not long, that collaboration will just end, because it's not balance between give and take.
This is a very important point, Dr. Pimpaka, that you mentioned about international collaboration is about two-way communication really, and try to understand not only from the scientific perspective but also from a personal, emotional So there are many aspects, in other words, behind your success as a top one of the top researchers at Walailak University. That is quite obvious, and so it must require a lot of your efforts on your part, and the other one important thing I'd like you to share with us here on the program is that the reliability. You have to be a reliable partner. This is pretty much consistent with what you just said about this two-way communication. Often international cooperation fails because the other party probably doesn't respond appropriately or promptly, which could disrupt international communications and therefore damaging the whole project. So on this score, I think you've done really well.
Thank you.
And now we are in a very difficult situation, namely the COVID situation, which has prevented a lot of international collaboration, perhaps in terms of the physical collaboration, the physical traveling, things like that. And it has been with us, this COVID, for now 18 months probably. That has prevented people from traveling and all that. What happened during this period when it comes to your international collaboration?
It's quite tough as well because normally, of course, we will travel if time and budget permit us to travel to visit our colleague. However, normally we communicate in the way that we send our sample that we synthesize in our laboratory to their laboratory for measure in many aspects that we don't have equipment. But during the COVID time, like almost a year, we couldn't send any sample to Australia at all because Australian government not allow any air traffic to go to their country. So that means that we can't do the squid measurement on our compound at all. And we couldn't send to France either because that is the other place that we normally send for this kind of study. But luckily, France somehow opened the gate for the post to send there earlier than Australia. So we have to communicate and ask them that is it all right if we send a little bit more sample than usual to them because we couldn't send it to Australia, and because they also suffer from lockdown. So they, in their laboratory, the students and postdoc freeze the work for a few months. So when they go back to their laboratory, they need to do their work. But they're so kind. They do their work a little bit and then they intercept our compound into the queue and do things like that. So then we also can get some result back and publish as well. And for Australia, it's so lucky in the way that we sending our undergrad and postgrad student there from time to time. So when we send there, it's not like a student conducting the work that belong to those colleagues, but it's kind of like the work that carry on in Walailak and then do further study over there. So student left chemical there. So we just ask our colleague, can you just make that compound in-house and then send for the instrument for us in the other university? And they said sure, so they do that part for us.
So you are very persistent.
But they enjoy it too.
Right. Now, Dr. Pimbaka, you were talking about your postgraduate students. Can you touch on that a bit more? Supervising, your experience supervising postgraduate students. I understand you have postgraduate students not only from Thailand but also from overseas. Could you say a little bit more about that, please?
So in our laboratory, in fact, right now I think proportion of the overseas student is more than Thai student.
Okay.
Because maybe because the topic that we studying is quite hard. A lot of Thai students scare, but for the overseas student, they think it's challenge. So they apply, and when they apply, we interview them. And if we think that their attitude and background fit with the work that they will do as their thesis research, we offer scholarship because we, as university, has the tuition fee waive scholarship. In the past, in fact, have a tuition fee waive and also living cost for students as well. So in that way, students can come and stay on campus and then enjoy working and also adjust for the culture. I would say that it's easy for overseas students because Thai people, our English is not our first or even second language. So a lot of my overseas students at start, they struggle in terms of like day-to-day living.
Right.
But what we have in our program to come across this problem, we do kind of like buddy for our student. So we will matching Thai student and overseas student, so they can go everywhere together because both of them start the study at the same time. And then Thai student will help overseas when it comes to like maybe buy some lunch or whatever from start. But they also learn English from the overseas student as well. And I think that is quite good system because we have like a pair like Sharon who come from Philippines, and at the time we have Natha who is a Rajapat Nakhon student, and they start their study at the same time. At the end of Natha study, she can speak English so well, and now she study PhD in July because of the English ability, and it make her very attractive for other university and offer her full scholarship there.
It's great that you have been able to make use of the presence of foreign students to benefit Thai students in a very interesting way, improving the English for the Thais and all that. We have a few minutes left. I would like to, because you, Dr. Pimpaka has been a very active, you've been very active members of this IU-PAC, International Union of Pure and Applied Chemistry. And this international network aims to promote women in science. And you are very active members of this international network. And you've been in recent weeks, you've been part of this, you've been invited to appear on a panel to talk about life of women in science. Can you say a little bit about this network, and of course, if you can reflect on the fact that being women in science, is that an issue?
For start, IUPAC, in fact, not just only like for the network for women, it's kind of like network for chemists around the world. But the Women Inside is one of their projects, because this project, they just noticed that around the world, if we look at number of PhD students, in fact, male and female are quite similar, but somehow when enter the working area in science, as the year gone by, number of women is just like fading. So they thought that somehow they have to try to promote. And I think that a lot of women is struggling because when they start their career, and then after that they have family. And then they have to look, they're pregnant. And during pregnant time, especially when you are chemist, you have to worry, shall I go to the laboratory? What will happen if I have something like chemical or whatever into my body that might do any harm to the baby. So most of the time, women will slow down during that period, including me. Because if you look at my profile, you will be able to guess which year that I having my baby, because my productivity that year dropped quite significant as well. But I think that what you have to do is time management and try hard to change to suit the what we call more duty and responsibility, but it still bring you joy for both your work and also family. So normally I am the kind of like night owl. I go to bed quite late, but since I have my baby, so I went to bed early because baby have to go to bed early. And then after that, I shift my pattern of doing work into like, okay, go to bed early, get up early morning, like 4 o'clock in the morning. So then I can keep up with some document because it's quiet, nobody awake in the house except the cat. And then I do that until 6 o'clock. And when my son wake up, I can drop whatever and then be a mom. And then after that, come and work and be a teacher.
Time management.
And then it's so you have to find a way.
Yes.
If everything that you do is important for you, my son is important, my family important, my work important, and I don't want to reduce any of those. But at the same time, my health also important. So I have to I won't say juggle now. I think that just dividing my time wisely.
No wonder you were invited to share your experience on the panel, because this is such amazing experience and management, time management, as you say, and you've been very prolific in your publications. Dr. Pimbaka is one of the actually out of 6 academics here. You are among probably top 10 who have been very prolific in terms of your publications. More importantly, your publications are in Q1 or Q2 at the top journals. So congratulations to you, and of course being a woman as well, that makes things a bit harder. So are there lessons for young researchers, particularly among the female students? Because there are more female students entering university, but somehow, as you say, they fade away into their career. Any advice, any lessons that you would like to share with younger generations of aspiring researchers?
I think that what you have to do is just ask yourself what you want to be in next 10 years. Not only tomorrow, but like 10 years, what you want to be. And when you see yourself in next 10 years, you know how to go there. And then you will plan your journey and try to make sure that you will be there at that time. And then when you're there, you add the other 10 years. That's what I do anyway. First start here, I just imagine what will I be in next 10 years at Walailak University. And then I tell myself, okay, I want to build very nice laboratory that international standard in terms of safety and equipment. So I work hard and I be there. And then after that, okay, now I got standard laboratory, I have research. Okay, what's next? That when we shift to the magnetic study, we want to be more well known, not just in Thailand, but international level as well. So how can we do it? okay, we have to have some interesting research, and also we need partner who really can help and support, but at the same time also can learn from us. And then after that, we can't just like take only. So I, like a few years ago, I wrote a proposal asking for the budget to get the single XRD machine, because I think that is the time that we have to be a giver to society, to other colleagues that might need us. So we submit proposal and we have the money. So then that's what we are now. But now, when we are here, are we on the top of our world already? No, of course not. So we try hard, refine our work, make sure that we can push harder, and the quality of work that we're doing here is as good as anywhere around the world. So I think that just dream and then try to be there. It's not easy, but it's not impossible. Because once you say that it's impossible, that's it. You will just stop and you're not doing anything further. And I know that a lot of young doctors that's just come back, especially from very good university around the world, that they suffer. I was one of them 20 years ago, because I came from top university in UK, 5-star university in UK, come back to Thailand and have nothing. But this is our home. We have to make something from it.
That is very interesting. I am very encouraged by what you have just said, because that is certainly, I think there are many lessons that younger generation, younger researchers can learn from Dr. Pimpaka. With that note, we like to bring this program to a close. Thank you very much, Dr. Pimpaka, for being on the program today. I'm very sure people who watch this program, particularly the younger generation, the younger researchers, can learn a few lessons. You're a very strong-willed person, and you keeps on working, and eventually you've been very successful. Thank you very much again.
Thank you for having me here. Thank you.
Thank you very much.